the top 10 best video games ever
that we played so far in this channel.
Yeah, welcome back, y'all. This is the top 10 best video games ever
that we played so far in this channel.
Correct. So, start them off. We got number 10.
Blaster Master Zero on the Switch.
That's right. This game was released back in, what, 2017 or something like that? This is digital only, unfortunately, but it was still a great game. Pretty much revived the Blaster Master series all by itself, right?
Yeah, this was a cool remake of Blaster Master. All the graphics were cool. Retro style graphics on the newer systems. It was really neat. Oh, we got some cat hair flying around.
It also added a lot of different bosses, and they added this girl Eve and all this other stuff. So it wasn't like a straight up remake. It was pretty much whatever you want to call it. So Inti Creates made this in 2017. It was pretty cool. Had a 16-bit retro graphics, and had great gameplay. Added some bosses. Had some great DLCs, some PvP.
I think this was the first time we had the boss fights in the car.
Yeah, they added the boss fights in the car, from what I can remember. We had 3 of them in the car. We had the frog and then
the
skeleton. What was the third one? Oh, the gear, essential gear.
Ah, yeah.
Plus, had a secret ending for level 9. If you collect all the items, you got an extra level out of the game, which is pretty neat. So it was like $10. Highly recommend Blaster Master Zero for Switch, and also on Steam, I believe now. So check it out. Number 9.
DuckTales 2 on NES.
Correct. This is the follow-up successful DuckTales game. This was DuckTales 2.
Similar style to the first DuckTales.
It wasn't as popular, but I thought it was kind of an improvement, at least gameplay-wise. They added the 3 things to the cane. You had to find the treasures and stuff like that to get the map piece to get the bonus level. It was pretty cool. Went to all different kind of continents, different kind of themes, like the Pharaoh and go to Lost Continent Mew, the Bermuda Triangle, Egypt, stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Different areas to get to the final fight.
Yeah, with the D1000 ripoff for Terminator 2, T1000. So the gameplay was the same, pogo stick, swinging, stuff like that. But you got those 3 power-ups to make it like kind of like replayability. You go back to certain levels to try and get past blocks you couldn't move before and things like that. So I don't think it sold very well. It was late Nintendo life, of course, 1990 something. So it didn't sell as well as the first one, but it was a pretty good game. So if you haven't played it, check it out. It's really expensive, so if you find it cheaper somehow, like the Afternoon Collection, you can play it there. Definitely worth checking out. It's a good game. Very close to the first one, as far as quality.
Alright, number 9. Super Cyborg on the PC.
Dude, it's freaking number 8.
Number 8. Number 8. Super Cyborg on the PC.
Yeah. Super Cyborg is an independent game released on Steam. It was like $5 when it came out. It's a really cool game, Contra style.
It's like a Contra ripoff.
Rip-off, whatever you want to call it, rip-off or whatever. Yeah, there's 2 players simultaneous, very similar to Contra. A lot of similarities, even the levels are kind of the same, certain ones. But it's actually a really cool game by itself. If you never even played Contra and you just played this, I don't know where I'm going with that, but what I'm trying to say is it stands alone by itself as a cool game. Not just a Contra rip-off.
Sorry.
I'm not saying anything about you, I'm just saying. People are going to assume that it's like always associated with a Contra, but it's actually cool by itself. It's got, I believe, I don't even remember, 7 levels maybe? But they have really cool boss fights. All the bosses are like big and gruesome looking. It was like the old graphics too, like the Super Nintendo style graphics once again.
And then it was really rough final boss.
And guy took us hours to beat because he's got like 5 or 6 different forms and phases to go through. But the art style is great, the gameplay is great, the music's damn good. By Darkman 007. He made the music, I remember that because I actually bought his album for the video. So it's got great music, great gameplay. The boss fights, they're just really cool. The design is like just nasty bosses and stuff. Really cool. There's one overhead level like in Super C. Just one, right? Yeah, just one. That was okay. The side-scrolling ones are where it's at, though. It's really cool. Definitely a good game. But as far as I know, it's still on Steam for $5 bill. Definitely worth it by Archer Games. It's got some achievements there that are pretty much too ridiculous to get, but very cool game. If you're into Contra or any kind of side-scrolling shooters, pick it up. It's really cool. $5. I love it.
Number 7. Contra Shattered Soldier on the PS2.
This is finally when Konami took back their game, made themselves after those 2 PS1 turds. Yeah.
This game did seem much better just because it followed those 2. It was like...
Well, yeah. I mean, it's great by itself, but following those 2, it's the best game ever made. So it's a little weirder because they changed it up a little bit. There's no more pods flying by and weapon collecting. Pretty much got 3 weapons to start with, and you just cycle through those throughout the whole game. So you kind of have to get used to the weapon system and use it when it's appropriate and stuff like that.
On this one, I had the ranking system, where you had to get a certain ranking in order to get to other levels and other bosses.
Yeah, every time your rank was based on if you died or if you got hit or if you didn't kill an enemy properly or something like that. So if you got all S rankings, you got an extended game, you got extra bonus levels, a true final boss, which is one of the hardest things I've ever done. Actually, I actually had to use a Game Shark to get the ending. I couldn't do it. I mean, pretty much have to play the whole game without getting hit, without missing any bosses. It's really hard, but it's kind of cool. Reward you for the bonus levels at the end. Get to see new monsters, new levels. So it's also 2-player simultaneous, which is great. And the best part is it's only 2D, so the graphics look really sweet. Because it wasn't trying to make it all 3D and blurry and confusing. It was just straight up 2D graphics and looked really good. I thought it was a great game. A lot of huge, inventive bosses, new ones and some old ones. It was just a great comeback from the PS1 games, so thankfully Konami made that game and then they gave up again, or whatever. It's true.
Number 6 is DuckTales on the NES.
That's right, the OG DuckTales. DuckTales on Nintendo. Very memorable game. Great music, great gameplay for the time. It was kind of unique to see a guy on a pogo stick killing people, no guns or nothing like that. So it was pretty nice game. It was relatively short. Once you understand how to play, you can beat it in like 15 minutes. But if you don't know where you're going, it's a very lengthy game because you have to explore and find out where the bosses are and where the treasure's at.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
It's also cool because it includes 3 endings. I like when games have multiple endings because it gives you a different reason to play them over and over again. So it had 3 endings, which are pretty cool. The good ending, the bad ending, and the regular one, I guess you call it. So that was neat. But as far as Capcom, they did some really good Disney games back in the day, and this is one of them. So DuckTales is still relatively cheap. 30-something bucks, maybe less, for a real game on Nintendo. Once again, if not, buy the Disney Afternoon Collection for I think 20 bucks for 6 games. Can't beat it. Check it out. DuckTales, Nintendo. Number 6.
Number 6. Number 5. Blaster Master on the NES.
OG Blaster Master. That's the best one out of all of them, really.
Yeah, it's a really good classic game. You got the in the car and out of the car action.
Which reminds me of Guardian Legend. Remember that? You don't know that. That was flying and walking. This is in the car and walking. This is Blaster Master. Even though they came out with several other ones, I don't like making remakes over the original. Because without the original, it wouldn't even be there. So, Blaster Master 1 is better than the rest, in my opinion, because it was the first one that came out. It wasn't just a rip-off of the rest of them.
And this was like pretty unique for the time, right? To be in the car and then out of the car walking.
Yeah, I mean, some games had like 2 styles of gameplay. Most of them were just 1 style of gameplay. This one was pretty cool. You know, the car was the platforming, and then the walking around was Jason on the overhead section, where you fought all the bosses at. So, very good game. It's very difficult. Limited continues, no password, no save. So you gotta get good. It's hard to beat. Took us several playthroughs to beat it. But, great graphics, memorable music, nice intro. Good game for the original Nintendo. Should check it out. It's Blaster Master on Nintendo. Yeah. Number 4 on the best video games ever is Super C.
On the NES.
Can't say the word Contra. Remember that conspiracy? Check out our video. Anyway, Super C for Nintendo, which was of course a follow-up to the a good Contra game.
This one too was similar gameplay, just kind of continuing on from the first Contra game.
They didn't add much, just put it that way. It's just 8 more new levels, but can't complain about that. Still a great game. They improved the fire weapon.
Still 2-player.
2-player simultaneous. Yep. So it had some nice new bosses and new levels. Last boss was kind of easy. It was kind of a letdown, but
yeah, that was the one that you just stood up and
just stand there and just shoot him and he's dead. He can't hit you. But the game is great. It's a great successor to the original Contra. We had some new elements like some the diagonal up and down walking. We had a level which actually went down. Level whatever that was, 7 or 6, where you're descending through the whole level. And plus the 3D parts were taken out and they added the overhead section, which personally I like better. I know like original Contra had the 3D ones in the hallway.
Yeah.
But I like these ones better, to be honest. It's better gameplay wise. So, slight improvement if you think so, or just a copy if you think. I guess it's your opinion, but either way, it's a great game. And it's number 4, one of our best games ever.
Number 3 is Contra on the NES.
OG Contra, NES. Well,
I thought this was a great 2-player game. You can play it with your friends, you can play it with your bae.
correct.
The music is great. Pretty much everything about the game is cool.
That's Konami back in the day. They were the professionals, the pros. It's got 8 levels in it. Nice final bosses and stage bosses. Best 2-player simultaneous action you're going to find on Nintendo. As well as the gameplay and the controls. The controls are so solid. Even today, because some games can't compare to that. It was responsive. Just made sense what you were doing. Great controls. Difficult game. Very, very hard game for many people. So.
I can get pretty far in there now. I can't beat it.
You heard that. We'll see. Yeah, it had 30 lives code in case you couldn't do it. The infamous Konami code. So overall, great run and gun shooter. Spawned many, many sequels for decades ago. So that's where it all started at. Contra on Nintendo. Or a Greiser, or a Pro Protector, depending on where you're from.
Number 2 is Contra 3 The Alien Wars on Super Nintendo.
That's right. Regarded as one of the best SNES games there is. It's Contra 3 The Alien Wars. Don't say SNES, it's not cool. So Contra 3 was a little bit shorter, only had 6 levels, but still it's regarded as one of the best Contra games there is, and one of the best Super Nintendo games there even is. Once again, 2-player simultaneous action. Heck of a lot of boss fights. This time was almost like a boss rush. There was so many of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of bosses in this one.
Yeah, half the levels are just full of bosses. So it was very cool. Of course, the music was great again. The graphics were great. My only problem was the overhead sections. I hate those 2 levels.
Ooh. This is the one that you could split the screen. Depending how you picked it in the beginning, you could split the screen.
Yeah, split screen or together. They had to use the Mode 7 graphics somewhere, so that's what they chose to use them. I didn't like them. Besides that, it's great. I like how the final level has all the old bosses come back. The Heart, the Kimco guy, that metal alien thing. It's pretty neat. So some new stuff they added to the game. Well, they added a bomb, first of all. They added the 2 weapons system. So you can carry 2 weapons at one time. Oh yeah, you can also shoot your gun out and do poses and crap.
In the overhead, you can shoot both at the same time.
Well, both ones you can shoot both at the same time, but it's not very effective. But they added the homing they added here from Operation C. What else did they have? They added that C gun. And they have the old guns, like of course the spread gun, and the machine gun, and the rifle. So they added some new things. They added some really great bosses, like that one when you're jumping across the missiles, fighting that guy. It was really neat.
Oh yeah.
So overall, great game. If you haven't played it, you're missing out, obviously. Definitely one of the best Contra games ever made. Check it out on Super Nintendo. Top best game ever made is what, bae?
Contra Hardcore on the Genesis.
You're damn right it is. Contra Hardcore on Genesis. For 3 years in a row, this is still the top game that we played so far on this channel. Do you disagree?
No, this game was pretty cool.
Sure, somebody does.
And there's so many different paths that you could take when you're playing this game.
Yeah.
Different bosses, different endings.
Let's see what they got new. They got 2-player simultaneous, which is not new. But they got up to 4 characters. You can play one of the 4 characters. They each have their own weapon set. So it's 4 weapons times 4 characters. That's 16 weapons you can use. They got multiple paths depending on what you choose. Because at the end of certain stages, you pick where you want to go. Like follow this guy or go get that guy.
Yeah.
Depending on what you pick, the levels after that actually change.
The levels change, the story changes, and the endings change.
Yeah. So you can play the game about 4 or 5 times and see different things. So it's got replayability. It's definitely difficult. It's called hardcore, so it's probably going to be tough to beat in the first place. But once you do, you can try it again. We can go different paths, stuff like that. It's a very neat game.
There's a lot of cool graphics in there too, like the parts where you're on the airplane, the helicopter. It's an airplane.
What part? You're on top of the plane and you're and it crashes. So it's a super hard game. Not many people can beat it. Of course, we beat it. We don't play around this channel, but it's a very good game. It's got multiple endings, different weapons, huge bosses, tons of bosses, barely any levels, just boss fights. So I highly recommend it on the Genesis. It's a great game. It's got some sweet music. Controls are great. Only 3 buttons you need: jump, shoot, and change your weapon. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Just go. It's good.
Easy enough.
Easy to pick up, hard to complete.
Yep.
But that's still a great game. Contra Hardcore on the Jenny.
Jenny.
That's what I said. So that was our top 10 best games ever played so far on this channel. We'll see you guys next week for some more videos, next year for some more top 10s, and tomorrow for a top 10 worst games we've ever played.
Why would you say this channel?
I'll bleep it out so you don't know what I said.
Alright, see you tomorrow.
Deuces, thanks for watching.
Bye. Stop doing that.
Thanks, man. You're like really like annoying the shit out of me. Like you just keep staring at me like I owe you something in life.
Blaster Master Zero on the Switch.
Blaster Master Zero, number 10 on the Switch. Well?
I thought this was a really cool game.
Yeah, it was great.
The graphics were neat and...
That's it. It's a wrap. So, number 10 is Blaster Master Zero Bay. Why is that so great?
Number 10 is
Thanks.
Contra 3 The Alien Wars on the
SNES.
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo Contra 3.
So this is the 3rd game in the Contra series. And it was a pretty good game.
Except it was the 4th game.
We said in the last time that it was the 3rd.
Well, what about Operation C?
Oh man.
Might be the 3rd home console game.
Oh man. Number 2 is Number 2 is Contra.
Come on, man.